go. There we go. Going live. All right, I think we're officially live. Sorry about that, folks. We had a bit of a technical issue. Good morning. How are you all doing today? Thursday, October 1st. Here we go. This is the month of Halloween. I know it's a little bit weird with COVID going on. Halloween's completely out and canceled. There'll be no more candy. But listen, find your own way to celebrate anyway. Especially if you have kids. We'll come up with creative ways as we go along this month. But let's not just let it die, right? Let's keep a little bit of that fun alive and have enjoyment where we can, right? So, that being said, we're going to start doing some stuff down here, and you'll see as time goes on. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, ready to do some stretches? First things first, we stay hydrated. I want to make sure to get some water in them. All right, when you wake up in the morning, it's important. One of the first things you should be doing is getting some water in your system. And coffee. So important. Need that coffee. All right. How are we feeling? We all feeling ready to go? All right. So we're going to do a pencil stretch. Of course, we all know the pencil stretch, but we're going to do a little variation afterward. For those people who have trouble getting their arms up, a good way to help stretch that out. Again, you'll always have to be careful. We go slow so that we don't go past the point of pain. Right? Because what happens is, so let's say, for example, I can only make it to here before my shoulder starts to hurt. Right? If I go any higher, my shoulder's going to hurt. If I whip my hand up, my ability to stop momentum from going past, right, is going to be hard. You have to have a lot of muscle control, right? So someone who does it a lot, like me, I can go up and I can like lock it in, but chances are your momentum is going to push that arm past to where you're comfortable going. So we go slow so that when we feel it approaching, we're able to stop, all right? So that's why you always hear me say, go slow, all right? So that's why we're doing it. Pencil stretch, here we go. Feet, we're going to go a little bit more advanced today. So our feet are straight, but they're going to be together. What does that do? That adds a little bit of a stretch on these hip flexors, all right? Now, you're going to bring the hands, remember, not pronated, not supinated. They're neutral position, and they're going to come up. Good. Up, 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 right by the ears. Good. And now we reach for the ceiling. There we go. Nice. Just like that. Perfect. And a few seconds, and down we go, and we relax, right? So remember, we always come down slowly. We don't let that stretch create the stretch reflex and snap back into position, all right? So how'd that feel? Good? Pencil stretch is a good one. Gets a lot of the kinks out. Really, really good way to start the day. Especially if you don't have a lot of time and you kind of want to get the whole thing head to toe. This is not isolating a few places, so you're not getting deep stretches, but a nice way to get a few of those kinks out. All right, and we reach up. All right, we're trying to touch that ceiling. There we go. And down. Good, perfect. Good job, everybody. Now, for those of you who have a bit of a shoulder impediment, you might have a little bit of tightness in the shoulder. Here's what we're going to do, okay? This is going to stretch out your lats, so it's not going to get that lower body. But it's going to help with these latissimus dorsi, which are along your back, that are going to help you have better, just a less stiff back. So we're going to stand like this, up against the surface, arms straight. Right? Nice angle. Now what we're going to do, obviously you got to keep the back straight. We're going to bring ourselves down, and we're going to use this to help stretch our shoulder, right? So what we're doing is we're eliminating the need for the muscles to activate in that stretch. So as if I was taking your arm and making the stretch, right? So we're going to use this, and whatever it is, it could be a wall, it could be a bookcase, it could be a cabinet, it could be a countertop, whatever it is. And we're just going to let the shoulder stretch out that way. Right? So and that's going to work your shoulders and your lats. So that's a good variation. Again, if you're having a lot of problems, the best way to do it is contact me directly. We have custom programs just for people like you, and we'll take care of that right away. All right, so next stretch we're going to do, we're going to open up that chest, right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to simply open up, right? And bring our arms back. And we're going to push that chest cavity out. Now, if you have problems getting your arms back very far. So if you're coming like this, and you're a little bit stiff and you're not going to feel that chest cavity open up, you might need to hold on to one side, and we'll do one side at a time. Okay, so let's do one side at a time. Now we're gently pulling. We're not forcing it, right? So I'm not really going much past here. We're not forcing it. There we go. Now, why am I not up here, you ask? Because up here is going to stretch different muscles, right? It's going to focus mainly right here, right, which is your pectoralis minoris. We want to get the major down here, right? So just open up that thoracic area. There we go. Very nice. So we'll do both for those of us who can. And we're just pumping that chest in. So we're feeling the stretch already just by doing this. Right? It seems weird, right? Because you kind of feel like a rooster. But that's okay. That's why we're doing this in the privacy of our own home. So if you look silly, it doesn't matter. Because nobody's actually looking in your window. I remember I used to think that. I used to think, oh, if I do it in front of the window, people are going to see me. Nobody ever looks in your window. Right? You stand out in front of your window one day, and you look outside for an hour, no one will look at you. Right? You'll never find anyone looking at you. All right, I'm just opening that up. Right? And why is it important? Because you have your pectoralis major, okay? It has two connection points. One along the sternum, one up here on the clavicle. Now, if this section is really, really tight, the insertion point here really, really tight, what happens is it's going to fold you inward, right? And it's going to pull your shoulders in. It's going to fold you inward. And what it's actually going to do is it could eventually affect your breathing. It's going to be hard to take those deep breaths because these muscles are too tight to allow the chest cavity to open up. Right? Because remember, when you breathe deeply, it's not just your lungs expanding, but your chest cavity. The reason the ribs are the way they are is so that they expand. So we got to give them that room and that flexibility to be able to expand. All right? Good. So how are we doing? We're doing pretty good. We're already halfway down the body. You guys are doing great. Okay. A little exercise to help with the upper back. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. Simply, we've all done this before, right? When we were kids, most of us, we don't do this anymore because now we're not flexible anymore. But we're going to go back and we're going to just try. So whatever's comfortable with your hands, right? You can have them up here. But we want to hug ourselves, right? So that our shoulder blades are stretching. Right? Now, what we're not doing is we're not doing this. Right? Always up here. This is vitally important. Right? So we just do this. There we go. And just let those shoulder blades relax. Remember, once we get here, once we get into the position, deep breath out, and just relax. Right? So why is it important? Well, we live in a world now where 90% of us spend our time bent down, facing forward, right? Whether it be on computers, whether it be on our phones, even our chairs force our body into a sloped position, right? Even though we're sitting down, we're slumping, right? So it's forcing our body forward, just general society. We're no longer a society that does a lot of things like pulling heavy objects, right? So we want to make sure that we keep the right muscles going and the flexibility going. So here we go. You ready for another one? Whichever way is comfortable for you. And we relax into that. Good. But we always keep that spine, right? Spine is essential. Good. There we go. So now we're nice and loose. Perfect. Now, do some bonus shoulder circles. Okay, now we worked out a lot of stuff. I have heard a few of you have a bit of the problem getting the shoulder circles going. Now, when that happens, that's when you got to do them, right? I know it's counterintuitive. You're like, well, this is hard. I should just not do them. What we want to do is we want to attack that a little bit because eventually you will be able to do it. So we do baby steps. So we're just making little circles forward, right? Nothing fancy. There we go, and a few backwards. So we're doing 10 forward, 10 backward. There we go. 9, 10. Why 10, you ask? I keep hearing all these questions. No, I'm kidding. Why 10? A 10 is an arbitrary number. Honestly, when you hear guys and trainers and people saying, oh, 3 sets of 10, sets 15, they're arbitrary numbers, right? What you want to do is when you're doing an exercise, you want to get to the point of fatigue, right? When you're doing a stretch, you want to do enough, whether it be a time thing, you're going to hold a static position for 10 seconds, or you're going to go for 10 circles like this. 10 is a good number because it's not too much and it's not too little, right? I say 10, if you hit 5 and you're starting to feel some soreness, you know what, stop. It's okay, right? It's not a competition. 10 is not a magic number. 10 is an arbitrary number we all kind of choose as a collective industry to say, okay, it's a fair number, not too much, not too little. But if your body, everybody is different. Remember, 7 billion people on the planet, no two are the same. Unless you're twins. Even twins are different, right? So whatever your life story is, if you can only do 5, then do 5. And then you did it, right? So don't worry about it. Okay, let's do a couple more of these. I like these. These help me a lot. I find they really open up that area right between the shoulder blades and below the neck, right? Kind of get a tingling sensation like I'm giving myself a massage, which sounds really lonely and inappropriate at the same time, but let's not go there. There we go. Perfect. All right, so now good. Listen, we've done most of the top body, okay? Now we're going to work on the lower back. And a little variation. So remember, I always tell you this is the one exercise you get to actually bend your back on, right? And we've been bending our legs for support. We're going to try, now for those of you who have balance issues, bend the knees for support. It's important, right? We don't want you falling down onto your nose. But for those of you who are okay with your balance, we're going to try something a little bit extra. We're going to add a bonus hamstring pull in there, okay? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to keep our legs straight. Now, not knees locked, because that's going to hurt your knees. But legs straight, right? Now we're going to come down, back bend, and then we bend the back. And you don't have to touch your toes. You just have to bend down and feel that stretch. Now you're going to get a lot up here on the hamstring and your back as well. So as you relax, there we go. So now we're saving a little bit of time getting 2 in 1 here. And you notice the big difference. If you're able to do this with the legs straight, you're noticing the big difference from the other day when your legs are bent, right? Huge difference. Huge, huge difference. Ready to go again? And here's what we're going to do. We're even going to do an experiment so you can feel the sensation happen live. Okay, you ready? Here's what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to come down, keeping our legs straight, right? And you're feeling that stretch. Now you should be feeling it all along back here and your lower back. Okay, so we're feeling that stretch. We're getting it in. We're going to do our little arbitrary 10 seconds. Now, you ready for this experiment? Now we're going to absorb and bend our knees and watch as the hamstrings totally disengage. Ready? And boom. You feel that? So now your hamstrings aren't, they're done. They're out. No problem, right? So that's really, really important to understand that the positioning of your body and how your joints are lined up will affect how your stretches work. Super important, all right? So, listen, guys, we're almost done. So now we've got the hamstrings in for free. We got a twofer, as they would say in Canada, right? The traditional twofer, which is well, if you're not Canadian, I don't know if you'll get it, but it's the 24 bottles of beer, or the 2-for-1 deal. You're never sure depending on what the guy is talking about. You have to kind of get it in context, the twofer, right? All right, so last thing we're going to do, the last two things are obviously the calf stretch, and then we're going to work it down into the ankle circles. All right, so calf stretch. Again, as always, nice position. Now you can hold on, right? Or you can be like this. Now, if you are advanced enough to do things without holding on, then do it. Why is that? Because as you lean into that stretch, right, you get that back leg stretching, your stabilizing muscles, in other words, your core and the stabilizing muscles on your leg activate. And that is bonus. That is key, especially when you're talking about Canadian winters, where we got to step over snowbanks and slide in ice. You want to get these stabilizers going as much as possible. So if you need to hold on, right, which is fine. Now you notice my back is always straight. So don't be far enough that you're trying to do this, right? Get close enough if you need to, right? Make sure that back is straight. Now, if you got to hold on, kind of test yourself a little bit. Oh, right. Oh, okay. You know, the reason you want to do it again, you're activating those stabilizing muscles. Now we're going to do the other side, everybody. Right? You're activating those stabilizing muscles, and eventually you'll be able to do it hands-free. Right? Because this is not a natural thing for us. Stabilizing muscles are often forgotten about. Right? When it comes to our bodies, we tend to think about the main things. Right? We all know about the chest, the shoulders. We always forget about the back. Right? We know about the quads. We forget about the hamstrings. Right? We know about the calf. We don't think about the stabilizer. So it's very common that we're doing this type of thing. All right, you ready for another one? Here we go. Now remember, don't key things, okay? I realize it's hard to see my feet. You know what? I'll elevate myself so you can see my feet for this example. It's very, very important that we do this right, okay? So, what you don't want to do, I'm going to chop off my head in this shot. That's okay. What you're focusing on is the feet. Okay. So when you're back, you don't want that back foot so far back that it lifts your heel off the ground. Because what's going to happen is you're going to say, oh, I don't feel a stretch. So you're going to force your foot down, and then you're going to put tension on that Achilles tendon. And you do not want that. Right? You really do not want that. You'll give a hard time walking. Right? Wars Velasquez is that Achilles heel. Right? And the other thing you don't want to do is the foot position. So you don't want your foot outward. I don't want to have to go forward and turn my foot outward. Because now that's putting tension on my knee and my hip. So you can be saying, I don't get it, Chris. I do a calf stretch, I have hip pain. Check your foot position. Right? Like I'm just kind of demonstrating and I can feel the pain right here in the hip. So you should know right away. So feet straight. Now, those feet straight makes you more wobbly, which is why you might need to hold on to something, right? But that's okay. You're better to hold on and do the function properly than to do it improperly and injure yourself. So make sure those feet are nice and straight line. Something like this that I'm standing on, obviously you can't see it, is actually great for you. So if you have, I don't know, a strip or a little mat or something, a visual aid to say, okay, yeah, I got to keep my legs inside, I got to keep my feet inside this thing in order to make sure my foot's not going off to the ankle, right? Because again, big pain. So if you feel pain, instead of stretching in the muscles that we're focusing on, you're doing something wrong. Or you have a serious impediment, in which case, both of those, you got to contact me directly. There we go. Very nice. Good job, guys. So there we go. So listen, we're down to our ankle circles. I may as well stay up here. This is kind of fun. I'm already up here. Right? Instead of jumping around and fumbling with stuff. Certainly have a better angle on the coffee and water. You know, and I went straight for the water first. Imagine. If anyone who knows me, that's something. All right. So last one we're going to do is ankle circles. Okay. So pin the toe, turn the heel one direction. Right. The arbitrary 10. There you go. And back the other direction. Both directions are important. I know we have a tendency to do this the direction that's easiest. But there's different muscles activated when we do this. And different tendons to be stretched. So just like the upper body, we don't want the front tight with the back weak. Same with the ankles. Now we go the other way. That's it. Well, that was kind of ugly, eh? So what happens when I'm focusing, I'm actually watching the video, trying to watch my own feet. And you get distracted, and all of a sudden you're not doing a circle, your foot's just wobbling around. That's okay. Happens to everyone. Don't worry about it. Right? Again, if you're unstable, perfect. Good. Right? Obviously, when you can't, it's better to do this because your body is doing the work. But if you need the help, guys, don't be shy. I would rather you hold on to something and do it than to say, well, I can't stand like Chris stands, so I'm just not going to do anything. Right? That's not the answer. And if you're doing ankle circles and they feel like ankle squares, right? You're kind of like chunk, chunk, right? Doing this thing, that's okay. They always start off as squares. Ankle circles only comes over time, people. So don't you feel bad about that. 9, 10. There we go. 10. Arbitrary 10, as always. So that's it for today, everyone. Listen, if you're having a bit of an issue and say, you know what, I never know when Chris is on. Is he going to be on? Is he not going to be on? What you want to do is you want to hit the subscribe button, right? Like the video, obviously, very important. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell button. There's a little bell button. You're going to get notifications every time we do something, whether it be a live video, whether it be a Q&A. We're doing a lot of things nowadays. We're starting to kind of pick up the pace. And we're going to be going live regularly, daily, for the next little while. So for the month of October, we're going to be live every day with these stretches. Spread it around. We're going to be posting these things on Facebook. I want as many people to get their eyes on this as possible because, especially leading up to winter, we don't want to be creaky and tight and the weather's changing and we're waking up with aches and pains. Let's not do that, guys. It's bad enough we're stuck indoors. Let's try to get ourselves feeling good and powerful. If you have any serious issues, any problems with any of the stuff that we do, you got to contact me directly. We have custom programs that we build specifically for people who are struggling, right? We're not here just to make the 20-year-old guy get huge arms, right? We're here for absolutely everybody because I've suffered through my life and I want to make sure that nobody else does. Let's get to the best quality of life we can achieve, all right? So with that, guys, October has started. Go out and enjoy it. Embrace the chilly weather. Wear a nice coat and wear your fall clothes and have a great day. And we'll see you again tomorrow. And I say that with a nice sign off, and then I got to ruin it by walking up here and hitting the end button. Always happens. Bye.